Hi, if the performance on your Miele vacuum cleaner isn't as good as it used to be, then I'm going to show you how to clean it and hopefully get the suction back to where it should be. And to do this, I'll need several bits to start with. First of all, I've got a couple of old microfiber cloths. These are normally pretty good. Some antibacterial wipes, these can be quite good, or just general wipes are normally okay if you're going to clean the vacuum. An old paintbrush, and also a pair of scissors. I'll explain about these in a little bit. But to start off with the vacuum I've got here, as you can see, it's been used quite a bit. But I'll be honest, with Miele vacuum cleaners, they really are fantastic and they do last a long time. So I'm not surprised it looks like it's had a good few years of use. First thing I want to do is just go and take the bag off and go and pop it in the bin. You will see that on this bag, it is really full. So if the suction on your vacuum isn't very good, as you can see, and even from the inside here, that it's more than full. So this, I suppose, should have been empty beforehand. But nevertheless, I'm just going to go and get rid of this. Now, when it comes to buying bags, we do always recommend sticking with the genuine manufacturer bags. You will find that the performance of the vacuum could be a lot better because on some vacuums, the bag forms part of the filtration. And if you're going for an aftermarket one, especially if you're replacing, say, a cloth bag like this with a cheap paper bag, then you could just find the performance of the vacuum isn't a patch on where it should be. So I'd recommend sticking with the genuine manufacturer bags. What I have done is I've posted a couple of links below, so depending on which type of Miele bag that you're using, then hopefully this could help save some money for you. I'd always recommend getting rid of the bag in an outside bin. What you could find is if you don't seal it up properly like that, then you could get some of the dust come back up at you. So just get rid of it in an outside bin. That's the first job done. Now the next thing I do is to remove and clean the filters. Now on this vacuum, we've got a couple of filters. We've got the one that's normally placed under the bag. Now with the filters, just check to see if they are washable, because you could find that some of them are washable and you can reuse them quite a few times. There's another one just sat on the front here. What you need to do is check in the manufacturer's instructions to see whether the filters in your vacuum can be washed or not, because not all of them can be. And sometimes you can find on, especially some things like HEPA filters, which are very high efficiency filter, then you could find that as soon as you start to wash it and then let it dry naturally, then the performance of it is not quite as good as it used to be. So with this filter, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the main bits off there and just pop those in the separate bin. And really all I need to do with this, just normally under cold water, just give it a bit of a rinse and just get a lot of the rubbish out of the filter. Now with these filters, once I've washed it, then ideally I should leave it for probably around 24 hours to dry properly. All you'll find is if you put it in, so if I say, squeeze that out now, and if I was to pop it back in the vacuum, then as soon as I switch it on, then it will get damaged because the moisture from within the filter would damage the motor. Now really, as I say, I should be leaving it for around 24 hours. The other option is I can actually purchase a spare set of filters. So with the washable ones like this, then I could put that on the side to dry for around a day or so, and then if I purchase the spare filters, I could put that back in the vacuum straight away. At the moment, I haven't got a spare filter, so really what I need to do is I need to leave that to dry completely. And then with this filter, because on the whole it looks pretty clean, all I'd normally do is to get my old paintbrush and come outside and just give it a bit of a brush down both sides. As you can see, there's a little bit of debris this side, but overall that filter isn't actually too bad. But then the advantage of doing this rather than giving it a wash is that at least I can put this back in the vacuum a lot quicker, because some of these, when they're really thick filters, if they are washable, then they can take quite a long time to dry. So as I'm outside anyway at the moment, I've just brought the main body of the vacuum out, and while I've got the paintbrush as well, just have a look around the vacuum, and I just want to support that so I don't damage the hinges of the vacuum, and just give it a brush out. I know for some people it's a vacuum cleaner, it's going to get dirty, but while we're giving it a good clean, then I might as well make sure it's completely maintained. Just want to have a look around the filters, so especially in some of these areas, you could find that there are certain parts of the vacuum that get a little bit dirtier than others, but just have a look around the inside body of the vacuum, just make sure there's no fluff or any excess dirt. But it's, at least while we're outside, ideally you don't really want to be doing this inside, so just give it a good brush down. And also here, so where you've got the vents, So this is the air intake, so just make sure that you give those a good brush down, and from both sides really. The next part of the clean, I'm going to be using a couple of microfiber cloths. It is up to you whether you use the microfiber cloths or you can use just general household wipes. For me, I prefer to use the antibacterial wipes on some parts of the vacuum and then the microfiber cloths on other parts. So at the moment I'm just going to get one slightly damp, so it doesn't need to be wet, just a little bit damp. So to start with, I'm just going to wipe the outside of the body of the vacuum, because that's clearly going to be the cleaner part. So just give it a good wipe round. And overall it could just look a little bit smarter, I suppose, depending on how often it's kept clean. So there are some, on this one you can see there's a little sticker mark there. So let's try and get that off. This is one of my friends that I've borrowed. So let's try and get it nice and clean for her. I'm sure she'll appreciate it once it's all done and nice and clean. There we are, so that's, even without doing anything else, that's looking a little bit smarter. And if I get the other cloth and just give it a wipe over to dry it. There we go. Now what I do like to do, I do like to use the antibacterial wipes when I wipe on the inside hair, mainly because it can get very dirty, but also what I do find, sometimes you have a rubber seal around the inside, and sometimes it just helps it to get it a little bit cleaner than just giving it a wipe round. I know it's probably personal preference, but as I say, on some vacuums where you've got a rubber seal just on the inside lip here, we've not got one on this, so it doesn't matter too much. But if you have got a rubber seal, then just make sure that's really kept clean. And then just on the inside here, just going to give it a bit of a wipe out. So I'll try and get it as clean as possible. It could take a while to get inside all the nooks and crannies in here, but nevertheless it's just nice to get it clean. And give it a wipe round on the inside here, just using the damp cloth. I think what I'll do is I'm just going to spend a little bit more time on this section just to make sure it's kept nice and clean. And also the main part to make sure it is clean is around here, because that is where it seals onto the bag. So what you need to do, make sure there's no dirt or debris around this section, because that can be really important. You could find if you've got dirt or debris left around here, then if it doesn't seal inside the bag properly, then you can lose quite a bit of suction from that bit alone. So although not affecting the performance of the vacuum, just make sure that when you're cleaning the vacuum, you do the wheels as well. You could find, again, if you got dirt or debris around the wheels, and even the top wheel just here, so make sure that's nice and clean, because if you got dirt or debris caught in here, then if it doesn't spin like that, then you just find it's a lot more difficult to drag around behind you. So that's another tip. So now that I've got everything clean, what I've done is I've let this filter dry overnight, and let's just pop this one back in here, because that's nice and dry now. There we go, so that's looking a lot better. And as far as the other filter, we're just going to clip that back into place. Also, I've got a new bag, so let's just pop that one on. There we are, that just clips into place, and I normally just push that back a little bit just to ease it off. Sometimes they can be a little bit stiff, so that when you go to shut the front compartment, it can be a little bit stiff to push through there. So I always just loosen it a little bit. You don't need to push it all the way back. The advantage with this kind of bag is that as it's done here, that when you open the front compartment, then that will seal up properly. Clearly on the other bag, because it's been used quite a bit, then it didn't seal quite as well as this one. But nevertheless, that's everything done as far as the main body of the vacuum, and hopefully by putting a fresh bag in there, my friend should find that the suction on the vacuum should be a lot better. Next part of the clean I want to look at are the tools and accessories. Now on this model, we've got 3 tools and accessories on the inside here, so I'm just going to take these out. And what you can find is if you want to give this a wipe out inside, then you can do. Overall on this vacuum, it's actually really clean at the moment. So as I've got the rest of this vacuum clean, I'm just going to put this to the side. But all I want to do with these is just have a look over them, just to see what they're like. And as you can see on this one, I know my friend has got pets, so there's quite a lot of cat hair involved here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some of this off, and let's put this in the bin straight away because I don't really want this hanging around. I've got the bin just next to me here. There we go. So even just after a moment of cleaning this, there we go. So that's looking a lot better. But what I will do is I'm just going to go back outside, just give this another quick brush over, just to get rid of the excess debris on here. So if you can see, that's looking a lot better now. But all I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my damp microfiber cloth and just give these a quick wipe over. They don't really need a huge amount of cleaning, so just give that a wipe over. We've got the cheeky little crevice tool. This is quite a main tool with a lot of vacuum cleaners. Doesn't matter whether it's corded or cordless, so that's important to keep that nice and clean. And then the last one, we've got the brush, and overall this is pretty clean anyway, so it doesn't really need much brushing down. But I'll just give it a quick wipe over. So again, on any of these, just make sure, as you have a look on the inside, just make sure there's no blockages at all, and also just pop the cloth in there, just to make sure that's nice and clean on each one. Because the last thing you want is to get any dirt or debris left on the inside, because again, that can affect the performance if you leave any inside. The next part of the clean is just the main hose, and you will find that what you need to do is you need to check to make sure there are no blockages, because if the suction on the vacuum is not great at all, then you will find that I suppose part of it is, apart from the bag being full, the filters need cleaning. The next thing really to look at is the hose itself. Now I suppose as far as cleaning at the moment, so this one isn't too bad, and I'm just going to give this a quick wipe over, and again just make sure I give it a wipe out on the inside here. You want to make sure that that's kept nice and clean just around here, because that actually seals onto the vacuum itself. Then apart from that, just give it an overall wipe over, just to make sure the hose is nice and clean. But apart from that, I have checked to make sure there's no blockage in here, so that's all good, because the vacuum itself is working okay. I just wanted to give it a bit of a clean. But now we've got the hose done, now we can move on to the main head. Now I've got the main head of the vacuum, and hopefully you can see here that this has actually got quite a lot of hair wrapped around it. The lady I'm cleaning this for, she's got quite long hair herself, so clearly within the carpet is going to have hair wrapped around it, and that's certainly not going to help with the suction and the performance of the vacuum if you've got a lot of hair wrapped around. I suppose not so much from the suction overall if it's not blocked, but it's mainly the pickup ability of it. But what I want to do is, first of all, let's separate the pipe just to make life a little bit easier. That's it, just press the clip. And with this part, all I want to do is just to give it a wipe over. So just make sure this is kept nice and clean. Clearly being stainless steel, then I just want to make sure it looks smart as well. Nothing worse than having a filthy looking pipe on your vacuum. And again, just make sure there are no blockages down there. As you can see, that's perfect on the inside, even still quite shiny, which is always good. But just give this a wipe round at the top, and again just make sure that on the inside, just go around quickly, just make sure that's nice and clean. So now that's clean, I'll just put that to one side. This is one of the final bits to tackle, and to start off with, you are going to need a coin. So just rotate it around just to make sure that's undone. So you have got the directions, so you unscrew it anti-clockwise to take the bottom plate off, and then once they're undone, then just take that off. I'm just going to pop that on the draining board at the moment. Now to clean this, I've just opened the bin, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of debris around the inside of the main head. So just get a brush, and it is up to you whether you want to do this outside. Unfortunately, where I am at the moment, it's just started to rain, so I'm just going to do this inside. But if it is really dirty and dusty, then I'd recommend doing this outside. So just get rid of the main dust that's on here, and that's looking a little bit better there. And this is really where the scissors come into it. So you can see that I've got a lot of hair wrapped around here, and what you need to do is you want to be careful doing this. You don't want to cut yourself, but just slide the scissors along. And this is normally quite an easy way of doing things. You can take the main brush out if you want to. At the moment this doesn't really need taking out because the brushes themselves are actually really good. They're in very good condition. It's not long been changed, so I can tell that the performance of the vacuum should still be really good. If it is worn out, if you do need to replace the main brush head, then you can just undo a couple of screws, and then the main plate will come off, and then you've got the ability to actually change the brush if you want to. And there's quite a lot of hair wrapped around this bit here, and you will find there are actually little slots in here, so that's really helpful when it comes to getting the scissors in there. And I suppose it's normally easier if this is placed on a flat surface, but I'm just trying to do this to show you, I suppose, how simple it can be to clean and maintain your vacuum. But all you need to do is just try and persevere with it. Just get rid of all the excess hair, because hopefully you should find that once all this is out, then it will pick up a lot better. So overall, looking a huge amount better now, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a bit more of a deeper brush, just to try and get to the back, because I suppose at just at the back there it gets a little bit dirty. So that's, give it a bit of a tap. There we go. That is looking so much better now. And after that, let's just get the damp microfiber cloth, just give it a quick wipe over. There we are. Hopefully she's going to be chuffed to bits with how this is looking, but we'll see. And then just on the main head itself, just give it a quick wipe over, just to make sure. There we go. So that's looking a huge amount better. And as far as the other plate, so you can see that's quite dirty, so that's quite filthy there. So all I'm going to do is just get the microfiber cloth, make sure to give that a good wipe over. And on the inside as well. There we go. So I suppose one thing to check out is just have a look to see how that rubber blade is doing, because that can really help with getting, especially if you're using it on a hard floor, then that can help with the things like the pickup ability of when you're using the vacuum. If it's starting to wear out, then you could find that you just need to replace this part rather than replacing the whole of the head. But nevertheless, that's looking a huge amount better now. And then to put that back together, all you need to do is just to locate it at the front. That's it. And then get your coin and just turn both of those clockwise. There we are. Doesn't need to be tight. You just make sure they're done up. That's it, just finger tight. And you can tell they've just gone back into the recesses. And as far as the main floor head, that's done. Now the vacuum is nice and clean, got all the tools and accessories and the hose and the main floor head nice and clean. Hopefully the performance of the vacuum should be a little bit better than before, although it wasn't too dirty in the first place, but nevertheless nice to give it a good clean and freshen up. Hope you enjoyed this video on how to clean and maintain a miele-cylinder vacuum cleaner. Would appreciate it if you'd give me a quick thumbs up, click subscribe, leave any comments below. I always ask for comments on my videos, whether it's good or bad. Also, is there anything else you would do when it comes to cleaning your vacuum? Are there any other hints and tips that you could give me for future videos, or any of my subscribers or viewers, any other hints and tips you can give them too? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for joining me today.